To this particular announcement of an event we think is very, very important, not only for Maker's Mark, which is an iconic piece of the state of Kentucky, but Kentucky athletics and basketball, football, the whole 9 yards. So we're really happy to introduce this relationship today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mitch Barnhart, who has put always the academic piece above anything else here at the university. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate everybody coming this morning. This is a really neat time for us at the University of Kentucky. I think in an era of, we talk about a lot about student-athlete welfare. We talk about things away from the games that these young people play. And there's a greater emphasis, at least publicly, than there ever has been before. I think privately we've always done it, and we've always been very concerned with the pieces of student-athlete welfare, whether that's the nutritional piece or the medical piece, and not the least of which the educational piece. Really, really important for us to be able to make sure these young people walk out with their degrees and one step up in their life as they leave their university experience. So to be able to take three great traditions in the state of Kentucky and the first family of basketball and put those together in a very unique, special way that helps put an emphasis on another component of ours, which has been very special, and that's our Cats Academic Center. Is a great time for us right now. So what has happened is Keeneland, Maker's Mark, and the University of Kentucky have come together to put together a relationship that will go over the next few years and allow us to fund an expansion of our services from our Cats Academic Center. Bob Bradley sort of began that program. Bob's here somewhere. I don't know where he is. There he is right there, sitting right there. And Bob has done a marvelous job of sort of being the pioneer for an era of academic growth. And he has got a set of counselors that work with our young people that do an outstanding job. And that has resulted in a GPA that has grown since we've come to Kentucky 13 years ago to a spot where the last 5-6 semesters we have had been over 3.0 as a department. We've had last semester 18 of our 20 teams were above a 3.0. We've got teams that are winning at a high level and going on and doing things academically at a high level. And I think the Rupp family would echo all the pieces of the academics and the educational part of how important this experience is, and that's why they're the family that we felt like it was so important to bring into the first part of this new relationship with athletics. The expansion of our services, as we grow our department, our facilities are sort of moving to the south side of campus. What used to be almost entirely on this side of campus, and the Cats Center, as we all know, is located just on the other side of this room. The original Cats Center is going to be expanded. We're going to have to expand our services. So as we build our new football training center, and as we move teams from this building into the old Nutter Football Center, we're going to have an expansion of our CAT services, because literally 350 of our 500 athletes will now be on the south side of campus for almost everything that they do. So for them to be able to get their academics, get their medical care, and be able to attend their classes and be residentially living over on that side of campus, really not real smart of us to have them come all the way over here to do their academic work. So we're trying to make sure that there's a place that fits all of those needs. And this relationship and this gift will allow us to take those steps. And so we're so excited to begin this relationship with Keeneland and with Maker's Mark. And it's not something new to this campus. And it's something we're all very familiar with, and we're just glad to be the recipients of their philanthropy and their help to our program. So we're very appreciative of that. Bill Thomason and Rob Samuels, we are so thankful for your partnership in this, our relationship with Keeneland, and he and I are talking fairly frequently in the fall, as we don't want to get in the way of any of the fall meet, and we want to make sure that the fans that come for Kentucky football games have an opportunity to come and enjoy a wonderful day at Keeneland and then come to a football game in October. And so I don't think there's anything going on this October we need to be aware of. I think that's all, we're in pretty good shape there, right, Bill?
We're in good shape.
Good. No, we're working diligently on that. I feel confident we'll work our way through all those pieces. But that's just a piece of the puzzle. And for them to be able to, this was their idea. They came to us and said, we want to support you all. And thank you for what you do for the University of Kentucky. And we want to show our appreciation for the educational commitment you make to your student athletes. And we want to honor the Rupp family. And so I thought it was a wonderful thing for them to create this idea, and I thank Rob for doing that, man. It was all his doing, and so we really appreciate them doing that. But so that's sort of where we are today as we begin this relationship. I'll let them speak to the details of what they want to talk about, but we're absolutely thrilled to be able to continue to take another step for our student athletes, and I think Coach Stoops and Cal would both agree that it's so important that we support our kids in that way, and this is one more opportunity for us to do that. So thanks for being here today. I'm going to let them speak to it, and we'll certainly be available to answer some questions as we go. So, Mike, I'll let you carry on emceeing this thing.
Our next speaker is going to be our two head coach we have represented. First is Coach Mark Stoops, obviously head coach of the Wildcat football team, has the UK football program on the upward trajectory. 5 wins this past season, more than the previous 2 seasons combined. Has 3 recruiting classes at UK. Been the 3 highest rated recruiting classes in the history of recruiting ratings done by the Rivals.com service. So,
thanks, Tom. I'd just like to thank Bill and thank Rob. You've been nothing but generous to myself, the university. It's been a great relationship the past couple of years, so I'd like to thank you. It's hard to put into context how much this will help us, so really appreciate you. Thank you.
Y'all like to be this guy, Yep, go ahead. Coach Calipari, I'll walk you around and say, Coach.
I didn't dress for the occasion. I apologize. It's great to see the Rupps here. You haven't been to practice. Chip hasn't been around. I haven't seen you, but it's great to have you here. I'm appreciative of what you're doing for the university. Happy that it's not a bottle with me on it, because I'm still signing that one now. People everywhere I go, they have the bottle. Please, when are you going to run out of these bottles? But for this university, and I've said it, what's happening in all these sports, facilities for softball, facilities for football, the basketball, you can go right down the new track. Baseball is going to get redone. There's other projects in the works to make this the rounded thing it needs to be. It's about academics at the end of the day. I mean, the kids, for us, I want them to be able to come back. If they leave early, come back and finish. And all that we're doing to raise the awareness and the money talks about what this university is about and how we're doing it. Trying to do it at a high level, not at the expense of these young people. So again, thank you for coming together with us and making this happen. Thank you.
All right. We got Coach Need to run on. Yeah. Coach Cal's got the game tomorrow night. Got to get back to his game planning for that. So going to excuse him. Our next speaker is going to be Rob Samuels from Maker's Mark. Rob's Chief Operating Officer since 2011, but didn't start out that way. Began working in family business at the age of 9. Worked virtually every job at Maker's Mark Distillery, and has I worked your way obviously up the ladder and up the chain, become Chief Operating Officer, and not the first time they've been involved with the University of Kentucky and numerous other charitable causes around Lexington and the state. So we'll turn it over to Rob.
Thank you, and good morning. When my grandparents created Maker's Mark just over 60 years ago, from the very, very beginning, they instilled a deep commitment and passion to giving back to those causes that are most meaningful to Kentuckians. Education was always important to him, maybe because my grandmother graduated first in the class, and he graduated significantly behind her, and she would occasionally remind him of that fact, especially when they had the occasional disagreement. We've taken his commitment to education seriously and have partnered with Keeneland and the University of Kentucky for many, many years for a lot of really important causes here within the University of Kentucky community. I was excited and honored to spend some quality time with Mitch Barnhart and to hear him talk with so much passion and pride for his vision with the next generation of what the CATS program can be and the role it will play with student athletes. I'm honored on behalf of the Maker's Mark family of employees and Bill Thomason and his team at Keeneland that over the next 5 years, Maker's Mark and Keeneland are going to set a fundraising goal of $2 million through our own cash contributions and proceeds from a series of commemorative bottles towards the CATS program and the various projects that Mitch Barnhart talked about. That's a big number for us, but this is a really, really important cause. We're excited to be part of it and continue the long-standing relationship with Keeneland, who was our first customer, and the University of Kentucky. So thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Next speaker is Bill Thomason from Keeneland, President Chief Operating Officer there. Bill's a UK graduate, been involved in the orthopedic industry in numerous facets, numerous groups over the years, and for taking the presidency of Keeneland again, like Maker's Mark, an organization that's woven into the fabric of the community here in Lexington and throughout the state.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's a special day for us. Keeneland has a very special connection with Maker's Mark first. When he talks about that, the beginning 60 years ago, we're very proud to have been his first customer of Maker's Mark when it was begun. We got a special connection with the University of Kentucky. In 1947, when you think back, that we contributed the first electron microscope. So we've done a number of very special projects with the university over the years. Through our partnership with Maker's Mark, we've supported so many different things that have impacted the lives of Kentuckians and people here. A lot towards health initiatives and some various other opportunities. This one's special for us. One of the other parts of this campus that are so important to Keeneland is our connection with the students and these exceptional student athletes. We know that they're operating at the highest level and they're achieving at the highest level. And for us to be able to find ways to support the students, which are such a vibrant part of our community and such an important part of Keeneland and our fan base and the excitement of our racing and what we try to do, and in conjunction with our community efforts for what we do around the community. We're proud to be a part of this and so many of the other efforts that we've made over the years. And in keeping with, it's appropriate that when Cal left and when I look at what Mark's done, we go so far, but then there's also that next challenge, and you never can be just satisfied with the first $2 million. So along with that $2 million that we're going to do together over the next 5 years, Keeneland would also like to start by issuing a corporate challenge to go along with this to raise another $2 million towards this great program. We're going to ask 20 of our great companies around the state and the communities to contribute $20,000 a year for 5 years. So with that, we're going to start looking for another $2 million to add to it to make the total commitment $4 million out of this program. We're very proud of it. We think it's very important, and Keeneland's going to be the first one to meet that corporate challenge. So we're only looking for 19 right now, which we know is going to be absolutely no problem to do. But we're excited about the relationship with the university and with Maker's Mark. And we're excited to be able to do this as a part of this very important initiative for our student athletes' lives. So thank you all.
Herky Rupp, Chip Rupp, grandson of Coach Adolph Rupp, with us tonight, or this afternoon. Would either one like to say a few words before I start telling countless stories about Coach Rupp?
You can tell countless stories if you want to, but I think one thing that you should emphasize, and I'm not sure how many people in here realize this, but when somebody said something about grades and I pointed to you, you know how much my father emphasized getting your grade, getting your education, graduating. I would love for Dwayne or somebody sometime to actually figure up my father's graduation rate, but it had to be in the high 90s. And he had some fine student athletes like you, Mike, and others that are going to be part of this program, and they'll sign the Bibles and so forth. But academics was primary in my father's career. He monitored the athletes, you know that. He checked on their grades all the time. And this is a fine program that Mitch and them have set up, and we're happy to be a part of it.
I think you said it all. That just blew all my stories out. But there are so many stories about Coach Rupp that, I mean, every player who played here tells different stories and maybe differently. Depends on how you view it. But, you know, Coach Stoops, you bring your team together before practice, after practice. And Coach Rupp, more times than not, was concerned with who wasn't going to class and he knew, and who was, and how you were doing. He didn't use that necessarily to motivate. He talked about his former teams a lot. I mean, I thought I knew Hagan, Ramsey, and Seropolis like they were my brothers, because that's all he wanted to talk about basketball-wise. But he talked about going to class. He talked about doing the right thing, talked about your education, what you want to be. Very proud. He would come with guys that, being from Ohio, I really didn't know that were doctors, lawyers, dentists, teachers. Very seldom did he talk about, and I don't think he had anything against these guys, who became coaches. He liked those guys, but his emphasis was on the professional part of what his players are doing. Ed Beck, who was a minister, spoke to the team, had lunch with the team every year we were in Nashville. Coach Rupp would introduce him. He would sit and visit with us. I mean, he was very proud of this. He took particular satisfaction in what his guys did. And Bob, you do a terrific job with the Cats, and this is going to be terrific. But Coach Rupp was his own walking, talking Cats, okay? He had an academic advisor who doubled as a trainer, Dr. Claude Vaughn, who did a really good job of tracking us and finding out when we didn't go to class. But he reported to one man and one man only. That was Adolph Rupp. And when you were called into his office, kind of the flow of it was, Coach, you'll appreciate this, if you got caught busted not going to class, you found your name in the training room to go see Coach Lancaster. So you went to see Coach Lancaster. That was like number one. But you knew when your name said go see Coach Rupp before practice, when you picked up your practice equipment, you were in deep yogurt. He was not a happy camper if you had to go and sit and tell him why you weren't in class. And it's funny what you remember about things, but I and some of my teammates were not doing real well our second semester freshman year. He wrote a letter to my mother. Now, my mother is a 7th and 8th grade English and math teacher in Dayton, Ohio for 36 years. That was not the person I wanted him to write a letter to. And my mother kept it. When she passed away, I found it in a box of things, and she kept it because Coach Rupp addressed the fact that he knew she was a teacher. He addressed the fact that her son wasn't going to class and his grades weren't very good. And she opened a lot of things to my, she just jumped all over me via the phone. And Coach Rupp offered to have her come down and meet with him. She never did. But she always remembered that, And I found the letter after she passed where he had written it, dated his name, Adolph F. Rupp. And she got the biggest kick out of that. The other thing that comes to mind is some of the guys that went through, including myself, needed 3 or 4 extra classes. And after our eligibility was finished. And now that's pretty much a given, right? I mean, you take care of these guys. Well, back then, a lot of people didn't do that. Most people didn't do that. But I know a lot of my teammates, and I say a lot, I don't know how many, but they needed maybe some help to go to law school, maybe some help to go to dental school, finding a scholarship or finding money. Coach Rupp was always there. Guys that were kicked off the team in a certain situation while I was here. I know 2 of the guys went back and Coach Rupp put them back in school and paid for them to graduate because he wanted that. And by doing that, he showed all of us that he really cared about us and what we were going to do in the future. He would do about anything you could possibly do to make sure his players went to class, fulfilled their educational dreams, one way or the other. And I get a big chuckle. The last story I'll tell is this year and past years, many times, I'm sure Coach Stoops has done this, plane lands, it might be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I've seen Cal get up, call attention to his players who usually sleep on the way back, which I try to do too, and we'll tell them, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do tomorrow. We're going to have practice at such and such, team meeting, such and such. But you got class tomorrow, right? And talks to either Dwayne or one of the assistants, Kenny Payne, Orlando, whoever it is, Robes. They got classes tomorrow. Who's got classes tomorrow? The guys got to raise their hand. You will be at class tomorrow. We're going to be checking on you. I remember many times when the plane landed that I was on, now, much smaller plane, not quite as fancy. The box lunch didn't go quite as far then as it does now, but the plane landed. Coach Rupp would get up in the front and say, Dr. Vaughn, these boys will go to class tomorrow. Who's got classes tomorrow? And Claude Vaughn would come with 3 or 4 names. And sometimes we got late, back home late, just like they do now. And he says, now, boys, you go to class, and Dr. Vaughn, you make sure you check on them, and you let me know who's in class and who's not. And I think that just, and I get a biggest chuckle out of when Calipari does it with his team. And that just shows me the commitment to the academic piece then and the academic piece now. I think it's constant, and I give a lot of credit to the coaches then, the coaches now, Mitch Barnhart and his staff, Bob Bradley at the Cats. It's terrific what you're doing. And Rob, I think it's terrific what everybody's doing here on this particular piece. And it's just a great honor for both Maker's Mark and Coach Rupp and UK Athletics.